want to ask you guys, do you think that Kawaki will actually ever visit his father again?
I would love to see that. I'm
I
not gonna
would love
lie.
to see that. I really
Bro,
would.
the Naruto stuff.
I would love to see it, but currently there's no reason to. But I think they can
Yeah,
easily make a reason to. The best reason, in my
I'd
opinion,
also.
would
Go ahead.
be the of course it's referencing my own theory, but like if Amato actually is Kawaki's grandfather and we get some information about Akebi's, being Kawaki's mom, if Kawaki goes to his dad for something relating to that, that could work and actually just makes sense kind of in plot. But otherwise it's really just like bro randomly having a revenge arc. Why now and not before? Doesn't make sense. So that's why I'm like, if there's a reason, like he needs to go to his dad to get some information, that could work.
Didn't Kawaki's dad fight in the Fourth Ninja War? Didn't he say something like that?
Yes. In fact, that's why he's a drunk, because he has PTSD. It's because of the war.
He
No,
must
I
have
like
been
to think that he's one of those guys who were facing down Madara. One of those first guys.
That's actually pretty crazy.
But Kamui, your theory actually can have, like, outside of, like, hype, coolness, blah, blah, the plot nonsense, it can have some emotional tugging heartstrings of the themes.
Yeah.
Because, okay, so I think it's the most obvious thing in the world, the father-child theme in Boruto. You have Kawaki going to confront his dad related to Naruto things, which, by the way, side note, I would also love a scene between Naruto confronting Kawaki's dad as well, because I think Kawaki's dad would also be like looking at Naruto as a hero as well, so that can lead to a really interesting dynamic where Naruto hates Kawaki's dad, but Kawaki's dad loves Naruto.
I don't know if you're gonna say what I want to say about this, but
okay,
I'll let you
but
keep going
that
until
was
you might say it.
That was the side tangent, so back to the main point of the themes.
If you
so
say
it's not just the fact of it. Okay, it's not just the fact of Kawaki confronting Kawaki's dad because of his love of Naruto. It's also because of, if Akabe's his mom, what if they're going the route of Kawaki hates Otsutsuki's, but he loves his mom. And so he's like torn whether or not he wants to bring back his mom as an Otsutsuki. Because that's like contradiction to him. That's almost like if Naruto was turned into an Otsutsuki, how would he react? And so with that in mind, what if confronting his dad is how he goes about making the decision to revive Akabe or not? And that, again, ties back into Naruto. And that was my whole idea. Kawaki, or Kamui, I'm guessing I didn't say your thing.
Correct. But I love everything you just said there. And of course, that one hinges on the fact that Kawaki discovers that doing Amato's plan will make an Akebi Otsutsuki or something like that. So in this case, I think the best way to approach that wouldn't be, at least from Kawaki's point of view, necessarily that Akebi is going to be some white-haired alien, but more like Boruto, to where she just quote-unquote is Otsutsuki, but otherwise is the same old girl she was. But the other aspect,
this gives like an actual reason in the story for him to go visit his dad. Like the whole meeting means something for Kawaki's character leading into his important decision for the actual age.
And that's what I was getting at, where I think the only reason I feel like that ties in my theory in a way that just works for this situation. But the other thing about this is with Delta, actually. So I referenced this in actually my last video from like 3 weeks ago. But anyway, Delta, you can just play with this dynamic. If Akebi is Kawaki's mom, you can give Delta a dynamic here with the whole identity theme, to where, because I brought this up, Delta seems oddly protective of Kawaki, even though she kind of hates him. It could be because of Amato's programming. It could be because Ada asked her to. It could be because Akebi is Kawaki's mom and Delta subconsciously has motherly instincts, or it could just be Delta being Delta. There's 4 options there. But if it relates to Akebi hypothetically being Kawaki's mom, I think that just works well as something you could do with Delta as a character with the identity theme. Not that I have the greatest expectations there, but there's something you can do for sure. And it would be good, assuming they executed on it.
I think that Delta is in dire need of this. Delta specifically is in dire need, or Bronco, or whatever the fuck Shikamaru calls her, is in dire need of like characterization, because ever since Ada has come, she's just kind of been a nothing character. It was cool and funny for like the first couple, maybe the first chapter, but like now she just kind of really doesn't do anything and feels like really out of place. So I'm hoping they get in and like to her character soon enough. Do something.
And
exciting.
the perfect time is now because she's with Kawaki. If they go up against Jura, especially if Delta's watching or fighting, it's the perfect time to introduce Delta, not as a plot device, not as a body, but as a character. It's the perfect time to do it. That's why I really hope Akebi is Kawaki's mom, because it just makes Delta better.
Kamui, with this idea in mind, you're gonna love continuing my anime false perfections with the plot lines we're discussing here. Okay, so I think I would love this most, especially. I think it's pretty obvious. I think I would love this most if Delta doesn't know this, obviously. Like, she has no idea of any kind of connection to Kawaki at all. She just has these instincts that she wants to protect him, and she herself doesn't know why.
She could figure it out later on, but like...
that's
at least
fine.
We need to spend some time with her not knowing it, though. So she can know she's Akebi's clone, but not who Akebi actually is in that case.
Going off of that, it's a little bit too late. And I don't blame the author for not thinking this far ahead, assuming they're going in this direction, which freaking it's conspiracy theory at this point, how hyper-specific this theory is getting. But I would have loved if, instead of Delta just having a bad attitude when she fought Naruto like freaking 5 years ago at this point, if she had like a very desperate need to get Kawaki back, and we don't know why, and it's just like very subtly apparent, but it's still there.
I mean,
like something
you
beyond
definitely
Kara.
could make the argument, because Delta, of all the Kara inners, actually, you can see in her conversation with Jigen, she is oddly the most invested in getting Kawaki back. I don't think that they've executed it in a way that feels like it was foreshadowing for this, but I think you could kind of make it retroactive foreshadowing in the sense that it works conveniently, but it doesn't feel like that was the intent. But it would work even as it is, but I think they could have been done better if that was the goal.
Yeah.
Even I think especially how they could have done it, not only tying into this for later, but tying into the themes of that arc when it was airing at that time of parent and child. You have Delta confronting Naruto directly about him being a parent, because this is also coming right out of Boruto hating him, and this is him trying to be a father to Kawaki for the very first time. Delta could be saying stuff along the lines of, well, what makes you fit to be a parent? Or, well, your children are right there, and you're going to sit here trying to defend Kawaki? Well, which one are you going to defend more? Then that's when he throws Himawari in the air. Just so much stuff they could do. Like, Jigen's already a parent. Jigen's experienced with him. Jigen knows how to handle him. He's a rough mutt. You don't know how to handle someone like that. Look how Boruto turned out. You couldn't possibly handle Kawaki. They just got a whole bunch of routes with trying to get Naruto to like face himself with this kind of angle.
It definitely would have worked, bro. Like, I love the idea because like there's so many places you can just insert the parent and child theme, and it just always works here. Like,
to be honest,
also with
I will say this.
As a parallel, because we see how Hinata acts towards Kawaki when Kawaki is being the rough mutt, you know, you're crazy, whatever. They could have had some sort of subtle parallel with, like, what if, okay, this is going to sound really goofy. What if, I was supposed to say extremely goofy, but what if when Delta came to the village because Kawaki left, at some point she slaps him and calls him crazy? Oh, that's some foreshadowing.
I was thinking that, but then I would like Hinata to see that, so it's not just a Hinata emotional response, it's almost in a way like her last desperate attempt to get him back under control. Like, this is the only parenting left. Does this work? I don't know.